Moving forward, we just have a couple questions for you about the direction that the ranch is going.
As for the direction, so my dad was always the ideas guy, and he always had a very clear vision of what he wanted to do with the ranch. Whenever that vision forwarded a bit, then he would, about face and do something else completely different, which is what kept the ranch going and popular for so long. So obviously now, since his passing, we have done a bit of consolidating, trying to make sure that the ranch is stable and sufficient, so that we can start taking risks again and moving forward and doing interesting new things. One thing that we're looking at doing more and more, we've always been involved in conservation work, but it was always a portion of what we were doing. Obviously, tourism was a main element, and we had our interactions and our ambassador program. Again, very important to create that connection. But something we're looking at expanding into is, yes, we have our cheetah breeding programs, but what we've always done in the past for the most part is breed the cheetah and send them and their bloodline onto other facilities, then integrate them into their own populations. We don't have areas around here to release cheetah into, so we'd always send them to other places. But just recently, we've started a partnership with Sandwild, which is up near Cougar National Park. We've just done our first ever cheetah release, which is Zyla the cheetah. We took her up there and we released her, and what's happening is we're rewilding her. So we're taking a cheetah that she wasn't part of specifically our ambassador program. She was part of our breeding program. So she's still semi-wild cheetah. She had a bit more interaction with people than our other wild cheetah. So we were a little bit nervous, but taking her up there and allowing her to be part of her natural environment, and Sandwild are doing such a really good job in training her to eat for herself. She's been taking down prey items recently, various bucks and such, and doing really well. So we're very excited for her to be growing and developing, and it's showing that we have the capacity to be involved in releases like we always wanted to be. So we're going to start moving more into that direction, and keep an eye out. We're going to be releasing some footage and maybe a documentary of Zyla soon, so keep an eye on our socials for that. But yeah, we've got a lot of potential for not just cheetah, but looking into more direct conservation elements with the rest of our animals, going more into the research side of things, getting vets more involved, and just really expanding our research portfolio for the ranch and our conservation angle, so that we can truly make an impact, not just through the connections we generate with our visitors and our animals, but so we can go and create these partnerships and connections around the country and even around the world, depending on where our animals need to go.
So you have a lot of ambassador animals here that you allow the public to encounter. Can you tell us what animals that you allow the public to encounter at your ambassador program?
The species may change depending on time of year, how the animal's feeling at the time and such, but overall our main ambassador animals that go and interact with are our cheetah, our lemurs, which range from, at the moment it's our Madagascan ring-tailed lemurs. Our brown lemurs are in the same enclosure, and but they're a little more skittish, so most of the encounters happen with our ringtails. Obviously, we sometimes have younger cheetahs available. We have younger cheetahs and older cheetahs. We have an encounter we've started doing, which is quite fun enrichment for our bigger cats. So obviously, you can't go in with the lions, or you shouldn't go in with lions, you shouldn't go in with tigers. One thing we do is feeding. So a visitor will go to our back area, and through a clear perspex window that's safe for the visitor and the animal, they feed them on the end of a stick, and the animal gets enrichment out of that. The person obviously gets their own enrichment out of that, and it's a lot of fun for everyone. So we do that with our tigers, with our lions, and with our leopards. They all enjoy that. And on top of that, we have various reptiles. So we have boa constrictors. In the past, we had tegu lizards, but we currently don't have those. Things change. Sometimes we get other animals, so keep an eye out for that. We also have our Amazonia forest, rainforest, where we have a collection of rainbow lorikeets who are very friendly and love to sit on people's heads, and we get a little cup of nectar and they drink out of that, so that's always a lot of fun. And like I said, where we differ with our program, there are some places where, regardless of how the animal is feeling, if that is the time to perform, then the animal must perform, and that is for us unethical. We take the approach of the animal's mood is king. Our wildlife guardians, our curators, are experts in animal behavior. So they will assess the animal first before an encounter. They will see if the animal's in the mood, if they're feeling up to it, if it's a safe opportunity for the visitor. If it is, then the visitor will be brought in and the encounter will happen. If at any point during the encounter the animal moves away or doesn't want to be involved anymore, we allow the animal its space. At no point are they forced into an encounter. It's purely the animal's world. We're coming in, we're saying hi, and they get to dictate the rules. And that's, I think, where we're different in that regard. And then if the encounter ends prematurely or doesn't happen at all, then the visitor obviously gets their refund. As far as we're concerned, it's a win-win, and everyone comes out far less stressed and far more happy. But so far, we've had it that most of our animals really enjoy the encounter. They like interacting with people. You know, they get a little bit of food out of it, or in the case of our cheetahs, they get a nice big scratch. And as we know with cats, they just love being petted. So our program, again, the entire point of it is to create that connection. We have a strong ethos that it's one thing to see an animal from a distance behind glass or whatever it is. It's a whole nother thing to physically be in their presence and sometimes even touch them. It creates a bond that you just don't get through the distance as far as we're concerned. Within reason, obviously, again, the larger cats and such, it's a safety issue. Crocodiles, of course, you're not going to go and jump in with a crocodile. I should mention some of our other encounters have to do with our crocodiles. We have the world's first crocodile cage diving. It was started here back, I think, if I remember correctly, 2003, 2004 it was launched. We still have it going. It's a very popular attraction, obviously during the warmer months of the year. And we also have crocodile jumping. We call it jumping jaws, where we train the crocodiles to effectively jump out of the water and snatch meat hanging from a hook, and it's fascinating to watch. Those are our other encounters. We have visitors who can go and hold the hook. You know, it's very safe, don't worry, it's far enough away that your arm's not going to get caught or anything, but it's very thrilling, and the crocodile jumps up and grabs the meat, and it's very exciting. So again, even though they're not the cuddliest of animals, very, very fun encounter, I think, and really, again, drives home how important animals are and how powerful they are and how beautiful they are.
Okay, so we're going back to how big the Cango Wildlife Ranch is, split between the ambassador side and the breeding side. Can you tell us how big your facility is?
The Cango Wildlife Ranch proper, which is where most of our tourists and visitors and the WAVs spend their time. That's including the Cheetah Preservation Foundation, where people can encounter our animals in our Ambassador Animal Program. That is 9.2 hectares or 23 acres in American lingo. Across the road, we have our primary breeding facility, which is Greystone. The actual breeding facility itself is only a small portion of the entire property, but the entire property is 87 hectares or 215 acres.
Do you know how much of that's being used for breeding?
Our program isn't big enough that we need to use the entire space just yet, but we are expanding. We're already double what we were 10 years ago, so there's potential for more development.
Towards, because your father has since passed away. So tell us a little bit about who in your family is still involved in the ranch and kind of what your goals are moving forward.
My sister and I are employed at the ranch. We're both working in the marketing department at the moment. My mother is the managing director and obviously the owner. My father and her were obviously the duo that ran the ranch together and founded everything. And since his passing, my mom's been doing her best to kind of keep the ranch going. Not even doing the best, exceeding. You know, running an entire business by yourself is incredibly hard. So we all have massive respect for what she's being able to pull off. So it's myself, my younger sister, my younger brother. My younger brother is working for his own company. He helps out the ranch where he can. He's really good at thinking up new ideas and helping us make things more efficient. So every now and again he'll pop in and just kind of tweak things and it'll go quite nicely. My older brother lives in the UK. His involvement is mostly liking things on our Facebook, which is fantastic. We always need that. And then my younger sister, she works overseas on yachts. He's a chef, very accomplished chef. We're all involved to some degree. You can't not with the sheer size of this thing. My cousin currently works here as well, and he's a sustainability officer. So it's a bit of a family enterprise to some degree. And like I said, our extended family as well, they come and go. My uncle comes and builds things for us on occasion.
Can you tell us a way that people who have not been able to visit the ranch can become involved by donating or something similar?
I mean, there's many ways of being involved. So of course, we'd love for you to come visit us. If you can't do that and you can't be a volunteer, there's several ways you can support us online. So of course, we have our various social media options. We've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and on those platforms we have various pages and accounts, because of course we have the Cango Wildlife Ranch, which is our primary. We have the Cheetah Preservation Foundation, and we have the Wild Animal Volunteers. So those are all on there in various capacities. You can follow them for very specific content if you're interested in that. And of course, sharing and liking and commenting all helps us be seen by the algorithm, which of course gets us more views and more support as a direct result. Another option is just straight up donations. We have PayPal, we have direct bank transfers. So if you want to just send us money to just help us out, this of course always welcome. Another option as well is adoptions. So it's not obviously taking the animal back with you, as much as that would be very fun, I'm sure. It's sponsorship. So you would pick an animal, you would effectively start helping them out monetarily. You'd be sending for their feeding, for their veterinary care, and in return we would send you constant updates about them. You get a bit of a newsletter, tell you how they're doing, how the ranch is doing in general. That would be our way of maintaining that relationship. We've had several people who start their relationship with the ranch and our animals like that, and eventually they're able to come down and visit and directly meet their sponsored animal, and it's a very special occasion when that happens. And of course the reverse happens, where people are here, they encounter an animal, they fall in love with them, and they become their sponsor. We have various ways of being involved, and like I said, just the most basic bottom of the barrel, the one that helps us out a lot and doesn't cost you anything, is just interacting with our social media. And of course we love to hear from you as well. If you just want to email us and ask us any questions, or on our social media, that's always welcome. We love curious minds, and we love to have people ask us things and involve you that way.